Hello, hello, and welcome to Baki Taki, Season 2, Episode 8, the title of The Strongest. In this episode, we've got the thrilling conclusion to Yujiro versus Kaiokaku. Yeah, I don't know. I'm lost for words on this one. But to help me out, I've got a new guest, never before on the pod. It's Alex.
Thanks for having me on, Steve. I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one who's just as confused as on this episode. And yeah.
Some episodes are a bit more self-contained, where I feel like you can go into it and sort of pick up what's going on. This episode did not feel like that. I'm very interested in how you interpreted things.
We'll say I feel privileged to be able to watch this because it seemed like this was definitely a build-up episode, or at least it feels like it's a turning point in the season. And even like in the intro, watching the intro and being like, them dedicating a good amount of time to this particular fight. It's like, I'm watching a very important fight here. It's going to set the stage for the end game, I can imagine.
It really should be the season finale. It's just that it wasn't long enough, so the next 4 episodes are just going to be there. But yeah, this is the big climax of the season.
So does it get any better, or does it just kind of peter off after this episode?
Well, this episode was to determine the best martial artists in China based on a once-in-a-100-year tournament. The next arc is going to be about somebody trying to steal Baki's girlfriend. So the stakes go down, but it's, there's not... Just because something's bigger doesn't mean it's better.
I guess not. This great Raitai tournament that is they only do these every 100 years. It's very secretive, although the stadium size tells you not.
It's secretive because I've never seen this building, this Tower of Pisa, which is only used for martial arts competitions.
Well,
but
I had a feeling it's the Chinese just rubbing it in, because wasn't this originally in Rome, ancient Rome? They came up with this idea and they're like, well, we're not as good as the Chinese anymore, and then they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna build a stadium, mocking them while we're at it.
No way. Okay, so I guess this leads into, there's 2 questions I ask everybody. So first off, what did you know about Baki before listening to this episode?
Not that much.
But you knew that the Raitai came from ancient Rome?
I was listening to your podcast.
Oh, okay. It's just how did you pick this up,
Steve?
Okay. Okay.
I don't know much about the Raitai. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know all the characters.
Oh, no worries.
Sure.
No worries.
But I guess I know enough about. All right, it's a Grand Tournament fighting. It's and it uses 12. 12 is symbolic, which and hey, it's January 12th, my birthday. So
yeah, congrats.
Thank you. I feel special.
Yeah. Also, yeah. Sorry, I knew. It's funny You've told me that you listen to the podcast, and so many people have said that, and then I'll be like, what'd you think of this episode? And they're like, I listened to 1 episode. So I've just sort of assumed people listen to 1 episode. But
you're not wrong in the sense that I really don't know that much about Baki. I know it's a very long running manga series. Isn't it one of the top 5 longest running?
I think it's 6th. I think it's the 6th longest running manga. Hey, Editor Steve, just checking in. I got tired of how I've been regurgitating the same facts sort of half-heartedly based off of an old Google I did a year ago. So I just wanted to set the record straight with some hard, concrete facts straight from Wikipedia. Grappler Baki is the 7th longest running manga of all time based on number of volumes. It has 146 volumes that's been produced. Also, it was started in October of 1991, meaning that it's been around for over 30 years. Yeah. Fun fact, it's 1 volume short of tying the 6th place, which would mean that this... my previous claim would be correct, depending on when you listen to this. And also, the show in 8th place, or the comic, is Kinnikuman, which is, some might know it as Ultimate Muscle from Fox Kids. Anyway, the anime hasn't had as much success, but the manga's run for a long time. Yeah, cool. And then the other question I always ask people for the first time, just so the audience has a chance to get a bit to know a bit about you, What shows other than Baki are you currently watching?
I recently just started watching What We Do in the Shadows.
That's supposed to be good.
Yeah, it's it's like the winter season. Starting off this year, everything still looks a little gloomy, so it's like a good excuse to watch something like that's a comedy. It's also a Toronto production too, because a majority of it is shot in Toronto.
Oh, I didn't know.
With the film unions, yeah.
Oh, interesting. So this episode, why don't you walk me through, like, how does it start? What were you thinking as the episode started?
All right, well, it seems like they did like there's like a recap, obviously, because you got Yujiro talking about, and I'm so sorry if I pronounce his name wrong.
Oh, no worries.
He's criticizing Shinori still, being like, yeah, I mastered that art style, but it's complete shit. I'm not gonna use it in this fight anymore. I just wanted to show you that I can use it.
Relaxation, Shaori. You all can keep that ridiculous crap to yourselves.
It doesn't take long, him criticizing all other aspects of, like, fighting, and then it immediately gets right into the fight between him and
Kaiokaku.
Kaiokaku, thank you.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciate, because I come from, like, the old school Dragon Ball Z background of, like, oh, these are all cool fights, but it's like every single fight is like 5 to 10 episodes, because they spend so much time with exposition and talking and
like trying to tie it into like a backstory, or like you have like flashbacks in the fight. No, none of that. Not too much.
But no, this one, and this one was great, because it was a competition between strength versus technique. Like, I was pretty impressed with the fighting. I didn't realize, like you bring it up in a couple of the podcasts, I just didn't realize it was going to be as bloody as it was. Like,
oh my god, yeah. So for large portions of this fight, Yujiro just sort of stands there like a statue, and Kaku punches him with bloody fingers. And there's actually multiple shots of just blood like dissipating, like a cloud of blood just fading away. Alright, full disclosure, that's a fake sound effect. Sometimes this show is more of a visual medium, but you get the point. And honestly, I didn't even remember that, because a lot of the episodes are much bloodier.
At one point, and I thought it was really awesome, you got Kaku, who's absorbing one of these punches, and during the momentum of Yujiro's punch, he's spinning him like a dreidel, and in that spin, he kind of does like a counter kick right into Yujiro.
Technique is nothing less than the antidote to fighting.
And I'm like, that's a creative way of fighting.
Yeah, they don't teach that in those beginner classes.
No, they don't. Well, he is 150, right?
Yeah, a ridiculous number. 50,000 days, as he said. Which I did the math, and that's only 136. It was actually sort of funny. I felt like the translators were a bit embarrassed of the fact that he was 140, and so they kept just saying he's been doing it for 100 years to like sort of make it seem a bit more believable. But
I don't get how's that even, like, he's the oldest person to exist, and apparently he only managed to be this old by achieving, I guess, the highest status of being a martial artist. When you die, it's because you left the path of martial arts. Which that's gonna lead right into like the ultimate self-defense technique, which had me on the floor laughing.
Oh, that's one of the best moments. But yeah, so before the ending though, so Baki, I think this was what I was thinking the whole episode, is that any other show, if you have the world's buffest guy fighting a 150-year-old man, the 150-year-old man will win. And the point is that it's like, don't judge a book by its cover, or like, age beats strength or something, or wisdom.
He at one point tells Yujiro, it's like, oh yeah, you definitely have the strength, but your weakness is your ego, something along those lines, right?
Yeah. But imagine being in the audience watching the world's strongest man just beat up somebody older than your great-grandparents. I feel like you have to call the police at some point.
That's the Yujiro Hanma I know.
Look, Baki, I know you're proud of your dad, but the man getting knocked down, is over 100 years old, you know.
He would get automatically canceled. Like, his reputation would just be gone. Like, he could be the strongest man in the world, but he's beating an old man to death. But, like, I don't know. There's a lot that says about this fight. I'm not gonna lie. The way it ended was something I wasn't expecting. And I got to give Yujiro, like, yeah, as much as he was talking crap about the Shinori technique,
Shaori.
I guess it's the Shaori, thank you.
Yeah.
That he was able to quickly pick up on it and was like, I think I know how to defeat the old man. Because then he starts slamming him to the wall with his punches and kicks, and Kaku can't use the Shaori technique to kind of bounce back from it.
No, it's great. Yujiro is such a captivating villain. Like, he's so physically intimidating, and I don't know, he's just sort of an asshole. Like, his line about, I know how to do Shaori and I'm never doing it again. Like, there's no reason for that except to piss people off.
I hate all these people. I don't like my son. I spy on him when he's sleeping with his girl.
Yeah.
Caused the genocide of a bunch of Yeti-like people.
The
piling up.
Yeah. And the weirdest thing about Yujiro is, like, or the Yujiro Baki stuff, is for this whole fight, Baki's, like, on his side. Like, he's like, that's the dad I know. You go get him, Pops. And it's like, where did this come from? Do you just hate the Chinese this much? Like,
I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to win his father's affection that he never had all these years. Because he's also, like, Yujiro's got sons. Like, he's got a couple other kids, right?
He's got one other one, Jack.
He's got one, Jack Hammer, right? Yeah. And it's like, I guess he's trying to see that approval, but it also leads into, like, the ending of this episode, which I think is the turning point for the season, which you know, feels like it's building up towards anyway, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny, like, yeah, this fight is just sort of like its own little thing. That the rest, like, the Grand Raitai was a big thing, but at the end of the day, it's Baki's show, and this is just a fight between his dad and a 150-year-old Chinese dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the fights at the beginning of the episode, Yujiro is definitely on the pressing his advantage. Although Kaiokaku starts getting some good hits back in there eventually. That is until, and this is the first time I think in this show that it's come up, Yujiro rips the back of his shirt just purely with his muscles, and his demon back is finally revealed.
Now, geezer, time for you and me to have some fun.
Incredible.
Look at the muscles on his back.
They look like the face of a demon.
So, what did you think about his very muscular back?
The first thing that went to my mind is, like, I gotta know Yujiro's workout regimen. Like, I gotta get a demon back like that myself. Just like it's a bit ridiculous for sure. But, like, I don't know, like, the way this guy, he almost reminds me of Akuma, you know, from Street Fighter. This, like, demonic fighter. Like, he almost has a similar look. Like, the red hair, red eyes, like, almost like black kind of.
Yujiro looks like and poses like he's in a game of Street Fighter.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. And it's like, you know, I think it fits the guy's motif because, like, you know, he's supposed to be an intimidating force. He's supposed to be, like, he is supposed to be the villain of this series, right? Or at least the closest thing to a villain. Yeah. But when the way this particular fight scene concludes, and even throughout the fight, it's like he's proving himself for sure. Like, yeah, he lives up to that demon reputation.
Yeah. And I just want to give a little history on the demon back.
Okay, please.
Because so unfortunately, you can't go to the gym and get the demon back. It's actually a genetic mutation that the Hanma lion has, where they have extra muscles in their back. That makes them...
So does Baki have this as well?
Yeah, and so this is the fun thing. The previous arc before this anime started, it ended with Jack versus Baki. And Baki won by finally utilizing his demon back. And then he hasn't used it for the last 30 episodes. He hasn't even talked about it.
Ooh, so
but yeah.
All right.
So that's a little cheat code that the Hanma family has, is that they have stronger backs than like a mere mortal like you or I. Okay, and they also work out. If he didn't have the demon back, he'd also be way stronger than me.
Just the workout regimen. Just, okay, Monday, legs and backs. Tuesday, chest and back. Wednesday, abs and back. Thursday, a little bit of yoga. Friday, nothing but back.
It's good to get some stretching in.
Hey, you got it. Hey, I mean, some of the fight moves and limber. And yeah, he, at one point in the fight, like, you got Kaku who's just, like, laying into him with everything he's got, and he's just standing there, just intimidating, you know, just flex. It's a real power move right there. Letting your opponent hit you and just feeling just completely unfazed by it. It's like, yeah, keep bringing this. That's the best you got.
The hell kind of fight is this? How is this martial arts?
It's Kaio Emperor Kaku. So it has to be.
Until he does, like, the slap heard around the world, raising both hands, and then just slamming Kaku's head.
That was what's so funny is, okay, so I don't want to. Yeah, okay. I guess I'll have to spoil it, but yeah. So Yujiro claps and breaks both of Kaku's eardrums, and then he goes for the finishing move, and he stops right before he hits him, and we find out that the reason he stopped is because Kaku died, standing up in the middle there. And according to the doctor who came out, he actually died of old age.
He died of old age.
I would not believe that. 2 seconds previously, the world's strongest man blew out his eardrums with one clap. And the doctor's just like, yep, old age.
I thought so too. And it's like, and just the way that goes, like you obviously, you have Yujiro's completely frustrated, like calling him out, you idiot, and all that.
You absolute idiot! You bastard!
And then it's like, it's I don't know if it's is it a Pyrrhic victory for him? Does he win that match? I don't know if he technically wins.
I don't think he won. Because, to quote later in the episode, this is another win for martial arts. Like,
Martial arts has won.
Well, I guess we're spoiling things, but it turns out that dying of old age is actually the most advanced martial arts move.
But, Master, that's not the issue here. It's just, I mean, you're alive. How?
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. Yes, the self-defense of death.
And he also points out you can use this in any scenario. Like if you're playing badminton or like any sport, if you just die, you don't lose.
And his reasoning, at one point he says, if your opponent dies, then there could be no more game. And it's like true, but then it's like, what a cop-out of a way. Like, I'm watching this and I'm like thinking, oh, it's like, oh, he technically, maybe he did kill him. Is Yujiro gonna have, like, is this gonna be a moment where he actually takes into heart what Kaku says? Is he gonna have, like, a turning point? Is this gonna be where he's like, maybe strength isn't all that? But no, it turns into, like, a joke.
Yeah. So Kaku dies. We get, I believe this is where we get 8 different reaction shots of every person who was in the tournament.
Yeah, everyone's just, like, freaking out at the fact.
I just... can't be. Seriously?
I was gonna say, like, even, like, him explaining it to all the other, like, students and stuff like that, and he at least he was honest too. He's kind of like, you know, it's like, yeah, I had to get out of that match somehow. And he's like,
and then he had a line that was like, oh, he did cheat, yeah. Well, he had 2 good lines. First he said,
Fighting that man was like fighting a wild animal, and I should know, having fought many in my time.
Which was a fun humble brag.
of course.
But he does go into, when, you know, sometimes I joke about, like, Baki lines. Like, I'll say that I think they're really good and I'm being facetious. But I did really enjoy his lines about martial arts being a form of cheating. Like, that, you know, yes, I pretend I did die and I came back to life, and that's, you know, that's martial arts, that's cheating, whatever, I'm alive.
In any contest, whether you're talking about sports or even fighting to the death, if your opponent dies, then there can be no more game. Which means there can be no defeat.
But that's cheating.
Yes, martial arts are just special techniques that are used to cheat. Insects and small animals often survive by faking their deaths if they decide they can't win a fight. So I suppose you can call that cheating as well. But because of it, they are able to survive. All of you. I fought against that wild and vicious beast, yet I'm still standing here.
Also, yes, we should, just to be clear, because I don't know if we actually said it, he comes back to life a little bit later. It's a martial arts thing. You wouldn't understand.
Oh, yeah. Very effective. It's a very effective technique that he's managed to hone throughout these entire years. He's managed to make death a companion in the fighting ring.
Do you think he does that whenever he goes to bed? He just dies?
I'm like thinking to myself, it's like, then nobody is like, any single fight that people, like, I'm thinking, like, any single fight he does from the future, from now on, people who know about this technique, they're going to be like just seeing him die on the ring, and then people are still wailing into him. It's like, he's not dead. He's still alive. Trust me,
the next guy's just smashing into his skull. Oh my god.
People are just horrified at it. It's like, no, it's a technique he knows.
That would be so great. Oh man.
I do appreciate that at least him and Yujiro do have a talking where it's like, he's like, you weren't expecting that, and then Yujiro's like, yeah, well, it would have looked good for me either way, not only taking your title but then brutally beating a man to death in the ring. I already got a bad reputation. I don't want to be known for that as well.
Yeah, they had a nice little chat. The Kaku bestows on Yujiro the title of Kaio Emperor, and Yujiro turns it down. We also joke on the show that Yujiro always wears the same outfit, but in this scene, he's wearing a fun, like, floral purple shirt, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the exact same one Mr. Oliver was wearing earlier, almost like he borrowed his shirt, but I can't confirm that.
He did rip his shirt off with that whole, like, demon back technique, and now he's just, like, probably gone back. It's like, oh crap, I don't have a spare.
Didn't want to get on the plane without a shirt.
No, God, no.
But yeah, that's the end of the Grand Raitai tournament. It took 8 episodes. It all took place over one day. And yeah, 12 of China's greatest Kaios, 4 randos they also invited, competed in what was originally a bracket and then turned into a mini Olympics. Would you have been happy if you bought tickets for this?
Well, everyone, like, the commenter made the point that last fight everyone left contempt with the results.
Yeah, that felt like some real tell not show. You know, you can't just say the audience was very happy. Like,
and now the tournament has reached an end, but without a clear victor. However, as the spectators begin to depart and make their way back home, they seem to be completely content with the outcome.
It also feels like I'm supposed to read this like I am the audience and that I am leaving this very happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have like got tickets to such a thing, but like I still can't figure out how people, like, an underground, like, organization, yet people are leaving by the droves, like they're leaving the Rogers Center.
Yeah. I wonder if they, like, rent that stadium out for, like, just other stuff during the week. Because this tournament only happens, even if they just do the regular Raitais there too, that's only every year.
So. 150-year-old badminton tournament that they only host once, like, every 150
It's just Kaku playing himself, because there's no other 150-year-old. Oh, boy. So, yeah, but...
Other hobbies.
Yeah. That's how you live so long. Got to keep the brain sharp. But that's the end of the Raitai tournament. But it's not the end of the episode, because as I've said many times, this is a direct adaptation of the manga, and the manga was not made for 22-minute increments. So the show's pacing is always off. And we start the next arc in the middle of the Raitai's finale. There's not a lot that happens this episode. We mostly see Baki put on a cool, like, Rocky Balboa type of jogging outfit and go for a run. Where did you think he was going to run to?
Oh, I thought I was just I don't know, I was just interested in, like, oh yeah, they're showing the training aspect. Cool. I thought he was just gonna run into the city, and then automatically he's in the forest by like this what 1,000-year-old like red oak like tree that is
yeah.
I grew up with this tree.
This great tree, over 1,000 years old, has watched over Baki since he was just a child.
So this is what I'm looking forward to the most. Like, I've realized that I have watched and rewatched a lot of Baki, but this arc that's coming up, I don't think I've rewatched in a very long time. And so when he ran into the forest to go talk to a tree, I was surprised. I was like, why is he talking to the 1,000-year-old tree?
Boy, you're a tough one. You've kept up with me from the very beginning.
But
is this common for his character? Like, I don't know much about Baki.
No, he's never gone to a tree before. He knows that guy who lives in the woods, and he knows a bunch of apes. But I've never seen him at that tree before. But I sort of intentionally avoid the old stuff so that it can surprise me. I guess I'll say it a different way. He doesn't go back to that tree anytime soon.
This tree I knew since I was a child. Yeah, it only gets one show. It only gets one episode, and it's a brief moment.
Yeah. So he's not the only person at that tree. Joining him is our good friend Muhammad Ali Jr. You caught that, right? Because you've listened to previous episodes.
Yeah. Originally I thought Muhammad Ali Jr. was the guy right next to him in the beginning of the
Red
fighting when they're narrating. Yeah, I didn't realize. But then
a big difference is that Muhammad Ali isn't Chinese. It's probably the big difference.
Good point. But then when he started talking and all that, it was like, oh wait, maybe this is actually Muhammad. And then it was like him boasting about how we're gonna have to fight because I want to take you on.
I want to fight you, Baki.
But Baki being like, there's only one I don't want to fight, but there is only one person I do want to fight, and that's my father. Yeah. And then, like, you got Muhammad Ali Jr. basically just telling him, it was like, he'll kill you in the ring kind of thing. And he's just like, yeah, but I want to really put that the strongest man in the world title he has to the test. And then Baki just kind of wanders in the forest as Ali Jr. Yeah, as you do. And Ali Jr. having this, like, monologue of how their fight eventually is going to come down. It's going to happen.
Yeah, so we've now entered the Muhammad Ali Jr. portion of Baki. I watched ahead a few episodes because I wanted to familiarize myself with what's coming. And, oh man, I love this stuff. It's the most insane roller coaster. And... yeah, just wait until you listen to the next few episodes.
Well, you said didn't you say Kozu? Didn't you say like eventually the whole tournament it just revolves now around Kozu or something like that?
Kozue, yeah. Kozue is gonna play a big part in the next Muhammad Ali Jr. arc, and then never appear again, to my knowledge.
Wow.
That's I was talking to Lindsay about this, but it's funny because I've always complained about like how Kozue is like a nothing character and like doesn't really get a lot to do. But then I realized that like moving forward, like this was Kozue's arc. Like this whole podcast has been about the part of the show where I think Kozue matters the most, and going forward, she's just not going to matter at all.
Wow. This show's really great on running its female characters, isn't it?
Yep. All right. Well, that was the episode. So, editor Steve here. I'm just going to edit out some sick sound effects. Could you have guessed that I was under the weather recording and also editing this?
You okay there?
Yeah. I'm just getting over something.
Oh, man.
fine.
Wintertime and the flu season, right?
Exactly. So, Alex, you've now watched an episode of Baki. Do you think that it is a good show?
I'm intrigued by it, that's for sure. There's still a lot of things I don't know about the series. It was quite funny to like go into this really like the tone halfway change throughout this like the episode where it's like it's supposed to be a serious kind of like final match in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes to like this comedic like joking about like martial arts and like death in general, and it was like I did not see that coming. And then it goes right back on track being like, okay, we got to get to what people really want to see and the end game and how it's leading up to the final season of things. I'm intrigued, and I think I want to maybe, I don't know, at least I think it's worth at least one season to see how it is. But like hearing some of the other podcasts and stuff like that, it's like, oh yeah, I'm expecting it to be bonkers, just like anime usually is.
Yeah, and it's gonna keep that up. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Alex.
No problem. Thank you. This was really fun.
Yeah, and hopefully I can get another one out next week before I go on vacation. But
Nice.
Yeah. That's all the Baki we've got to talkie. So I'll see you all next week.
Friday.